Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I want to show you how to punch properly. A lot of the times we get confused on how to punch properly and then we hurt our hands. Now, this is a little secret that a lot of people don't know, and actually I didn't know this till later on in my career. And this is actually a very important thing. So now, it's how do you place your hand when you're punching, especially when it comes to straight punches, the jab and the cross. A lot of times we just think of just sticking out our wrist like this and then that's it. Now I'm going to show you a little secret that's going to change all of that, and it's going to make your punches a lot stronger and a lot safer. That way you don't break your hand or hurt your hand. Now, the idea of this is the bone structure of your punches. When we throw a punch, again, we don't really think of how to place our wrists, but this part is actually super important. When we throw our punch, what we want to do is punch with these two front knuckles, and now we're actually going to be tilting our wrists slightly down like this, all right, slightly to the side in this case here. Slightly to the side, so it lines up the bones all the way across, all right? When we're throwing our punch, it lines up the bones. If you just keep your wrists like this, now you're punching with these two or these two, and then if you notice the power of the punch, of the power of the impact, is gonna do this to your hand. And the power of that impact is gonna be around over here. So again, you're gonna hurt your wrist, hurt your hand. So now what you do is that here is the lineup, and all you do is tilt it like this so it lines up the bones completely straight across your arm, and now you're gonna have a strong, solid punch. All right, of course, always keep your thumb under your fingers. Do not tuck it in like this, because again, you can break your thumb and hurt your hand. All right, not in front like this neither, because you can hurt your thumb. So here I tilt it out and I'm pointing those two knuckles, and those two bones are across, straight across here, not like this, but here. All right, so really learn how to turn your wrist slightly outwards. If you go too far, of course, then you're gonna hurt your wrist again because you went too far. So now when you punch, you're really lining up those two knuckles, aiming with those two knuckles here. Boom, boom, every time. Same thing for the jab. Jab, cross, jab, jab every time. So here's my jab, all right? So instead of just throwing my punch like this without putting a strong wrist or minding the structure of my wrist, this time I tilt it just slightly. That way it lines up those punches. Every time I punch here, and now I have everything nice and straight, and it's gonna be harder for me to hurt my hand. Plus, I'm gonna have a lot more impact with my punches, all right? So it's a very slight adjustment of your wrist, but it's super, super important. So again, not punching like this here, right? You wanna tilt it this way just slightly to line up, aiming here all the way across your arm. All right, guys, so that is the adjustment. Make sure that you incorporate it in your next shadow boxing, in your next heavy back workout, especially if you're hitting something, but definitely in your shadow boxing as well. Instead of just throwing normal punches, I want you to really learn how to make sure that everything's nice and straight with your punches. All right, that way also when you hit on the bag or you're doing your sparring, you don't hurt your hand. Now the last part is also what I get asked a lot is the hook, all right? So when we do a hook, it's the same concept. If you do a hook with your wrist like this, then the impact comes here or comes to your fingers, and then you can hurt your wrist, all right? It's the same concept. You can either hook like this, but want to make sure that everything is nice and straight as possible. Here, not like this, everything nice and straight, or you can hook like this as well. I preferably like to hook like this. It's a lot safer, but this way is also powerful and it's also correct, all right? But the idea is always to line up those knuckles with your bones, with your arm. That way you do not hurt yourself. I hope the tip helped you guys out in your training, and see you guys in the next video.